Welcome to this session of TK Academy, which stands for Team Knowledge for Architects and Designers. This is a specialty course, and it pertains to a very specific system used primarily by the government called ProjNet. These are the learning objectives. After completing this course, you'll be able to identify the federal agencies that prescribe to and utilize ProjNet, know how to register as a user within ProjNet, demonstrate how to submit a bidder inquiry through ProjNet, and demonstrate how to submit a response to a review comment in Dr. Checks. What is ProjNet? The official definition is, ProjNet is a secure, integrated, internet-based suite of construction design communication and database tools that enable owners to better manage design review through improved document exchange and examination, inquiry, comment, record storage, and issue resolution among all other authorized project business partners. That definition is a real mouthful, so we are going to simplify it. ProjNet is a web-based system. It has two primary functions. It serves as the question submittal and response platform during a construction project bidding process. And the second function is utilized during design for correspondence between the client representatives and the designers of record. ProjNet was developed in 1997 by the National Institute of Building Sciences, NIBS. It is the primary communication tool that federal agencies use to manage projects during the bidding and design phases. Not all federal agencies use ProjNet. The current list of subscribers includes the General Services Administration, GSA, National Aeronautics and Space Administration, NASA, Naval Facility Engineering Command, NAVFAC, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, USACE, U.S. Department of State Overseas Building Operations, OBO, and the U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs, VA. Non-federal agencies can also subscribe to utilize ProjNet. Other subscribers include state governments, local municipalities, and even institutions of higher education. ProjNet is a web-based system. It is not a software or an application. It is an open source that may be accessed by anyone via the internet at www.projnet.org. However, before accessing the system as a user, an entity must first register. Prior to starting the registration process, an entity should know its vendor ID number. Each subscribed agency will assign their own unique vendor ID number, so that a vendor or contractor must complete a separate registration for each managing agency that it wishes to work with. To begin the registration process, simply click the registration link at the bottom of the home screen window. Once you start the registration process, the first screen that you will come to is the agency selection. The drop-down menu contains the names of the federal agencies that have subscribed to ProjNet for their user to select from. Again, remember you must complete a separate registration for each agency that you wish to work with. The next step in the registration process is to identify what your role is within the project. There are different subsites that will be accessed depending upon your role within the project. For this course, we are showing only the option for the Design Architect Engineer role and site. The final step in the registration process is to complete your personal information. This is where it is critical that you know what your vendor ID number is. The vendor ID number is assigned to your entity, business, company, firm, or office. If your business entity does not have a vendor ID number, then you must contact the ProjNet call center and request a vendor ID number to be assigned to you. The phone number for the call center is listed on the home screen. The request for a vendor ID number usually takes a few days to process. The vendor ID number may represent a larger organization from which multiple offices exist. The first field is to select the office that you represent from the drop-down menu. The remaining fields are quite simple and self-explanatory. They include your first and last name, your phone number, and your email address. You must select a secret question that will be used to reset your password in a case that you have lost or forgotten it. The final field is simply the time zone in which you are assigned to from your home office and that you'll be primarily working from when accessing the system. The first feature that we are going to cover within ProjNet is the bidder inquiry. This can be accessed by anyone via the internet. For the bidder inquiry feature, one does not have to register or have a vendor ID number. Anyone may access the bidder inquiry. The way to do this is at the bottom of the home screen at the Key Access and the Quick Add Keys fields. The Quick Add Key is usually published within the solicitation or request for proposal. Although the vendor does not need to register to access the bidder inquiry, they do need the Quick Add Key and to click the box to agree to the privacy and security notice. From there you can click on the Sign In button and access the bidder inquiry for the project. Once you have accessed the bidder inquiry, you will be brought to a very simple screen that only has 3 fields for you to complete. The first field, you must select the agency from the drop-down menu. These are the agencies that are subscribers to the system and whose projects are included within the system. You must enter the key which is published within the solicitation or request for proposal that will direct the system to the specific project that you are trying to access. The last field is your email, which identifies yourself, the individual submitting the bidder inquiry. You must click the box that states you agree to the privacy and security notice. From there you can continue and be given access to the project. You are now logged into the bidder inquiry for the project. From here you can access 2 things. You're able to submit a new inquiry by selecting the option for posting a new inquiry. And you can view reports, which will show you all the inquiries that have been submitted by yourself or by others for the entire project. If you are submitting a new bidder inquiry, you will be brought to the screen with these available fields. There are 3 fields that are required. The first one is comment classification, and in most cases this will be unclassified for official use only. The next field will be for you to select your discipline that your question pertains to. For example, if this was a building project, your question may be architectural, structural, mechanical, electrical, or some other discipline or trade. The available disciplines really depends upon the project that is being bid. The next 3 fields are optional, where you can identify the sheet within the drawing package, the individual drawing or detail number, or you can identify the specifications section. One of the nice features about bidder inquiry is that you are also able to include an exhibit, such as a photograph, drawing, or sketch, and attach that to your bidder inquiry. The final field is where you include the text of your question or comment to be submitted. The other primary feature within ProjNet is referred to as Dr. Checks. Dr. Checks is an acronym which stands for Design Review and Checking Application. This is the heart of the ProjNet platform. It is a complete record of all review comments, changes, and resolutions that have been made during the design process of a project. The access to the Dr. Checks feature is like that of the bidder inquiry, in that it is done from the home screen of the ProjNet website. To access Dr. Checks, you must be a registered user. You have to enter your email and the password that you have set up as a user. Another step is at the bottom, where you must check the box that states that you agree with the privacy and security notice. From there you can sign in and access Dr. Checks. The navigation in Dr. Checks is much different than the bidder inquiry because you are signed in as a registered user. The first screen that you are brought to is the list of all the projects that you have been assigned access to. Projects are organized by the office or entity that holds the design contract. The primary point of contact for projects is the project manager for that assigned agency. Only authorized individuals will have access to projects, So although your office or entity may hold the design contract, unless you have been given access to it, you will not be able to see it within this screen. The authorization is only granted by the agency's project manager. So if you do not have access, you must contact the federal agency project manager to submit your information and request to be assigned to the project. Once you are assigned, it will show up in this menu underneath your user profile. When you select a project, you will be brought into the project site that will show you all the different reviews that are pertaining to that project. Project reviews can be done at a single review at 100% complete design, or more typically at stages such as 35, 65, and 95% design complete. All your various review and comment sessions will be shown at the top underneath the Dr. Checks tab. Please note that if you are assigned a role as a peer reviewer or assigned the role by the government to submit Dr. Checks comments, your options will look slightly different. Within each review, you will have the tabs of Edit, Evaluate, My Back Check, and All Back Checks. If you are the designer of record, you will have access to the Evaluate tab, which will show the total pending comments, those that you have concurred with, and those that are others. A quick way to access your comments is to simply click on the highlighted number for each of these items. At the bottom of the project sheet, you will see who is assigned the project manager who can assign project access within Dr. Checks. Dr. Checks is simply a dialogue that goes back and forth between the client reviewer and the designer. In this case, the reviewer is known as the submitter, or the one who is reviewing the documents and submitting comments. If you are assigned the submitter role within Dr. Checks, you will have a screen that will allow you to enter the comment. You must identify the comment discipline, whether it could be architectural, electrical, mechanical, civil, and so on. The document type, whether it is a drawing, specification, calculation, or some other. The coordinating discipline is an optional field, where an item that the comment is being made on must be coordinated with another discipline within the project. Other options are identifying a reference number, plan sheet, plan detail, or specification section. Again, just like in the bidder inquiry feature, there is the option to be able to attach a file such as a drawing or photograph. The final field is the comment section for the written narrative of the submitted comment. The last item is to identify whether this is considered a critical issue or not. The other role within Dr. Checks is the evaluator. This is the person who is typically the designer of record, and they are evaluating and responding to the review comment. There are only 4 options for responses: concur, non-concur, for information only, and check and resolve. The second box is the response to the submitter's comments. Even if the evaluator concurs with the comment, a discussion narrative should be included in the response. The evaluator then has the option to identify whether they feel that this is a scope, cost, or schedule impact to the project. There is the option to attach a document file to the comment. A good practice is to implement the changes to the design as the response is being generated, and then to include an attachment of that change to the comment to show to the submitter that the comment has been implemented into the design package. Dr. Checks is primarily a formal recorded correspondence between the submitter and the evaluator. After a comment has been submitted and the evaluator has submitted a response, the submitter has a chance to either accept that response and close the comment, or they can continue to respond with follow-up comments and concerns. Therefore, the comment remains open and the correspondence will go back and forth between the submitter and the evaluator until the submitter is satisfied with the response and the action item. Once the submitter is satisfied with the response, they close the comment. Comments that are not closed continue to remain open and are flagged so that the evaluator must continue to respond to the comment. Dr. Checks is a database system that collects and files all these comments and responses and is a very good tool for reporting and evaluating the project. Reports can be categorized as either submitter or evaluator reports. Common reports are all comments, all my comments, which are typically the ones that you have responded to, open comments, closed comments, and snapshot by discipline. The evaluator is responsible for responding to all the submitter's comments. Therefore, reports is a helpful tool in seeing how many comments are still considered open and required responses. Now we're going to do a demonstration here of ProjNet. Again, this can be simply accessed through any internet browser at www.projnet.org. And this is the home screen that you come up to. There's usually a yellow box at top that gives you some announcements, such as when there's going to be some outages or updates done to the system. At the top here, you do have an email for the help desk, staff@projnet.info. This is a good source. They're very responsive. Usually within an hour or two, you get a response from them. Also on the bottom, if you scroll down, there's a few different links down here. We have the call center, and they have the numbers listed here for the call center. Again, they are very helpful, very responsive, so they are a good resource. Going back to the home page, also the other thing I want to point out here on the bottom is the client list. And here you can see the different clients that subscribe to ProjNet. We have the Architect of the Capitol, NASA, Air Force, Army Corps of Engineers, Department of State, Veteran Affairs, NAVFAC, and then there's a few other ones in here that are non-federal government. For example, at the very bottom you have the University of North Carolina as a subscriber to ProjNet. And we have Montgomery County, Maryland, Dormitory Authority of New York. So ProjNet is not just for federal, other entities may also subscribe to this. So if you are new to ProjNet, the first thing you'll have to start your registration. And so down here at the bottom is the register button. When you click that, the first thing you have is the agency that you are going to be working with. Just a reminder that you need to complete a different registration for each agency that you're going to work with. And so here's the list that are the current subscribers, all these abbreviations. These are some of the familiar ones that we saw before on the client page. So again, NASA, NAVFAC, USACE, Air Force, VA. So you select which one that you're going to be working with. We're just going to select Army Corps of Engineers. And then your site. So when you drop this down, you have a lot of different options in here. All these are different districts within the Army Corps of Engineers. So if you are a federal user or owner, you would select one of these. But for most cases, we're going to be selecting the Design AE. So you select that, and then you get to this screen where you need to fill out your information. Now, if you or your company has used ProjNet in the past, you're probably going to be in this list. So you pick the drop-down menu, and pretty much any company, any firm that has used ProjNet is listed in here. So that's the first thing you want to do is look through here and see if you can find your company's name from this list. And here we have TK Architecture. Now if you notice that when you select that, it does not automatically populate the rest of these fields. So you still need to know what your vendor ID number is. It does not give that to you automatically. And then from there, just filling out your information, your name, phone number, email, and setting up a secret question in case you forget your password, and then the time zone that you're going to be working from. That is how you do a registration. We're going to go back to the home screen now and show you how to do a bidder inquiry. Easiest way to do this is at the very top you have this link that says Quick Add. Just click on that and it'll bring you up to this screen. Again, you have to select your agency that you're working with. For this example, we're going to do U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. The next line item is the key. Now the key should be published within the solicitation. So I have the solicitation, this RFP here. And these documents can be a bit overwhelming. This one has 458 pages. I've seen these well over 1,000. So it's not a document you can just thumb through and find what you're looking for. The best way to do that is to just do a search and you can type in bidder inquiry, and it will bring you right to that section of the document. And so you can see at the very top here, it mentions the ProjNet website. The agency is U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, and then here highlighted in red is the bidder inquiry key. And this is what you need. So you write this number down or copy and paste it, and then you go back to your ProjNet screen, and this is what you're able to type in here. And I had this typed in earlier so it remembers the entry. So I can just select that, and then you have to list your email, because whenever you submit a bidder inquiry, when the government responds, you will get an email to your email address that says that a response has been submitted. Again, you have to click the box to agree to the privacy and security notice, and then you simply hit continue. So that gets you into this screen. You have the solicitation number here and the dates in which either this is an open solicitation or the dates that they are allowing for bidder inquiries to be submitted. You have two options. You have the submit and then the reports. So underneath submit, you have a post a new inquiry, and there's always a window of time in which new bidder inquiries can be submitted. If it's past that time, this will be grayed out and will not be an active link. To post a new inquiry, you just select that, and it brings you up to this screen. Comment classification, it's almost always going to be controlled unclassified information, CUI, kind of by default. Your discipline will depend upon the project. This one has a lot of disciplines listed here, so you can identify what you're looking at. Say it might be an electrical question. The next three fields are optional. You can identify a drawing sheet within the package, a particular detail number, or a specification section. And the feature that I like here is this choose file, that you can select this and attach a PDF to it. So you can even take this sheet that you referenced here, sheet or detail or specification section, and attach it if you want. Or it could be something else, such as a photograph or a sketch or something. This is optional to be able to do that, but it's very helpful in communicating what your question is. And then the line item G is a required field, 1 of 3. This is where you actually type in what your inquiry is, what you are questioning or seeking information on. And then you are simply able to add inquiry, and it gets submitted through a bidder inquiry to the government for their review and response. We're going to go back to this previous screen and take a look now at reports. These are very helpful to contractors who are submitting or preparing bids on a project. The first one here is view your inquiries. So this will generate a report and show you all the bidder inquiries that you had submitted underneath the project, as well as the government responses. I did not actually submit any inquiries, so my report is blank here. But when you sign in underneath your profile or your email address, all these bidder inquiries that were submitted underneath your name will be generated here underneath this report. The one that's probably more useful is the view all inquiries, because it's not just you bidding on a project, it may be multiple teams, and this report will generate all the comments that are being submitted underneath the project. And this is an HMTL format, which is very helpful because you can actually sort this then by these fields up at the top. By default, it goes to the ID number. We can sort by discipline, sheets, if there's multiple questions to a sheet, detail, or spec section. So that can be quite helpful. The first comment here, for example, the question was submitted. This is the current status, request working. So the government is still reviewing this and has not generated a response yet. But the next two, government has responded. You can see the government response there. And then once government responds, they close this item. The request is closed. Here's one with a lot more information. It was a long question or clarification, and the government response, a long paragraph, but then again, you can see the request is closed. So this is very helpful, being able to see all the information that is that other contractors or vendors are looking at and questioning, trying to get a response from the government, and the government is responding to accordingly as they come in. So that is the bidder inquiry. We're going to now go back to the home screen and take a look at Dr. Checks, which is really the heart of the program. So to do that, we need to sign in. Again, select the managing agency. You type in your email, and you will be, when you first register, you'll set up a password. So you'll be able to just put that password in. And this changes about every 6 months. So this is something that is that you're frequently having to update. What a lot of people miss is after you put this information in, you still have to go underneath and click this box to agree to the privacy and security notice in order to sign in. Then you click the sign in button here, and it will bring it to your profile. And this screen, which shows all the projects that are assigned to you. So this is about 25 entries here that I have underneath my profile. And you see this on the far left side, these green pins. These are projects that I pinned or have been pinned to me because I've been assigned to them. If you click this box, now it expands this. You can see that there are 61,690 entries underneath here, or projects. Going past the ones that I have pinned, you have all these other projects that are not pinned. So these are all the projects the Corps of Engineers has within Dr. Checks. Now you can select one of these. For example, this one here, the Weed Army Community. I can pin this, and now it will be pinned to my profile. But unless I've been assigned access to it, I can't do anything with this project. So it's best just to kind of keep to the ones that you have pinned and the projects that you have listed here. Now, all these projects have the hyperlinks to them, so that you are able to simply click on the project that you want to access, and it will open up the screen, your project screen. At the top of your project screen, you see the box for Dr. Checks. And then all the different design packages and reviews will be listed here. In this case, 4. These are pinned. There's really no reason not to pin them. You have your most recent one is at the top, and your oldest at the bottom. They just keep adding to the top as reviews go on. And then on the left side, you have the columns of Edit, Evaluate, My Back Check, and All Back Checks. This will vary depending upon what your role is assigned to the project, but if you are the design AE, the evaluator, this evaluate column is where you'll be working in. So underneath that, there are 3 subtitles. You have pending, concur, and other. Pending refers to the reviewers, submitters' review comments, how many of them have been entered. Concur is those that you agree with, and then other is the other 3 categories of responses of non-concur, for information only, and check and resolve. So this is very easy to actually navigate. These are hyperlinked in here, so you can click on there to get to comments. So if you have new submitted comments pending, I'm just going to go to this one for 95% review, and if I click on that, it will bring me up to the comments. It will bring me to the first comment. You can see this one's viewing 1 of 3. And this comment has not yet been evaluated. So this is what the comment looks like. Have all the submitter's information that has been put up here. What the design discipline is, document type, if there's any coordinating disciplines, spec section, sheet, whether they indicate whether it is critical or not, and then they list their review comment. Now, what's nice with Dr. Checks, this is not like ProjNet. It is they do tell you who is the submitter. So in this case, Deborah Morrissey, with the phone number and email listed here. And so I'm able to actually comment Miss Morrissey and have some dialogue. I can call her or email and discuss this item before I submit a response. The evaluation, this is my box here as a designer. I had to submit an evaluation. There are only 4 options. You have concur, non-concur, for information only, and check and resolve. So concur is obviously you agree with the comment, you will address it in their item in the next design submittal. Non-concur, you disagree with it for some reason. For information only, sometimes the submitter may just be asking a question, or there's just some information that you can provide. It's neither concur or non-concur. And then finally, check and resolve. This a lot of times is there's some confusion. You don't understand the submitter's comment, or there's some coordination, some direction that needs to be given. So you need to have some discussion at the review meeting. So the check and resolve is basically saying that we need to have some discussion on this before we can come to a resolution. And then the box for your discussion or for your response. A good practice is, even if you have a concur, it is always good to put the response in here. Will include detail in upcoming submittal. So you never want to leave this blank. You want to put something in there that states what your action item is going to be. And then at the bottom, these are optional, but it's wise to pay attention to them. If the submitter's comment has an impact on scope, you want to indicate that. If it's a cost impact or schedule impact, because those are contractual issues that the comment could be impacting the contract. And then, of course, my favorite is the option to be able to attach a file to it. Again, a very good practice is that as you are going through these comments, as you generate a response for evaluation, is that you actually take the time and go into the project and integrate the change into the project at that time. And then what I like to do is print that change and attach it to this comment to show the submitter that the evaluation has been complete and integrated into the project. Once you complete that, you have to hit this button here, Add Evaluation, otherwise it will not get recorded. And then you have the buttons at the bottom for just next, last, first, and previous. This is just a way to kind of navigate through all your comments. So if there's one you want to skip and go to the next one, you can do that, or be able to go back to. But what's important to note is that if you do that without hitting this Add Evaluation, your information could get lost. So make sure you hit the Add Evaluation button before you move to any other comments. So that is how you respond to an evaluation. And when you go back to your project, you will see all these here. You can go look at Concur and others as well, if need be. Over on this column on the left, you have reports. This is a pretty handy thing to do too. It will bring you up to this screen where you have the submitter reports and evaluator reports. So underneath the submitter reports, you have what I find useful is all comments. You can print the PDF of this, and this will be all the comments regardless of what response has been submitted. Here you can see that they're printed out. When the back check has been done by the submitter, they can close a comment, and that's green. That's what we like to see here, is that comment's been closed and completed. Now this is a static PDF. There's nothing that can really be done here. These are hyperlinks, which is kind of nice that you're able to click on that or call the person, the submitter, and have some discussion farther on this. There it is. See, it automatically populates there up on the email. So those are links, live links, that you can continue to have correspondence and dialogue with your submitter. So the other option here is the HTML, and this is again is very handy when you're trying to navigate through. This is all the comments, but you're able to sort these comments They naturally come in here by ID number, but you can sort it by discipline, so you can group all your disciplines together, or document type, or if everything's on a particular sheet. So however you want to do that, that is a handy thing about using this, is being able to kind of group your comments together. Going back to the report page, another useful one is the snapshot by discipline. This just gives you a table with the status of the comments. So we have all of our different disciplines here. We have the total number of comments per discipline, and then the evaluations. This is the response, and it's concur, check and resolve, for information only, and non-concur. And then backcheck. Backcheck is where the submitter is reviewing the evaluation, and if they agree with it, they just close it. If they don't agree, they may submit another response or comment, and they'll just keep going back and forth until we can get them all resolved and get these all closed. The bottom, you can see, is also another way to categorize this is by document type. So we have design analysis, plan, specifications, sometimes calculations are in here, and so you can see how many comments are associated with each project or each document that has been delivered as part of the project. Snapshot by submitter is also another handy report. So these are all the assigned submitters for each discipline. So you can see how many comments that they've submitted and whether they have closed out those comments or not. Sometimes it can be very difficult to get the comments closed. So if these are all kind of sitting open, you can look to see who's not closing them and contact that person and work together to try to get those comments closed out. The project's not complete until all the comments have been back-checked and comments closed. Then you have all these for the evaluator reports. There's a few more in here. I'm not going to go through all these because there's quite a few of them. We don't have time to look at all these different reports. But the point is that there's a lot of good information, got a lot of good reports in here for you to be able to manage the job effectively and get the project complete. What's also unique on this particular project, we usually don't see this, but there's a bidder box. So this actually shows for the bidder inquiries that have been submitted for the project. Now you can see here that it says not assigned, so I don't have access to this. So essentially the government said that they're going to handle these bidder inquiries. They did not delegate it down to the designers to do that. And then at the very bottom of the screen, this is important to note that these are your points of contact for the federal project managers. These are the individuals who set up the project within Dr. Checks and the ones who are able to grant access. So if you need to get access to the project, you can find the person who is here with their email and phone number, contact them, typically to be added to a Dr. Checks review. If you are already registered in the system, you just need to submit your name, email, and phone number, and they can usually give you access to the project from that. This brings us to the conclusion of this TK Academy course over ProjNet. If you enjoyed this course, please give it a thumbs up, leave us a comment. Also remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos like this one and other video content from TK Architecture.